That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
You invoking that scene makes me think of a way to get us to our next step, Reed. I want you to say 3 words. Reed. 3 words.
You want me to?
I want you to say that.
8. What do you want me to do?
The idea was to repeat the word. Repeat the word.
Oh.
Instead, we'll just go, that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
Blake's like, man,
what has happened?
It's been a while since I've been on the show, and I'm not coming back.
Man, the man dropped me in, didn't even tell me I needed a jingle for the thing. He just said, Reed, you told me you had a jingle. Blatantly lied to the listeners. Just like, Reed told me he had a jingle, and I'm sitting there wide-eyed what do you want me to do? Oh, my gosh.
That's when the dingleberries entered the story. So yes, it is the time, is a part of the show where the 3 of us are going to, we've each allocated 3 qualifiers, 3 candidates for what could be termed from this film That Ain't Right. Blake, you are our guest, thus you go last. I'm just kidding. Thus I want you to go first. What is your number 1 candidate for That Ain't Right in this film?
Well, it's hard to beat. And we don't actually even see it. It's Nash being torn apart by the 2 semis.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
You hear what you think is a sound of a body ripping, but it goes to black. And so you don't see anything. But just the sound and the knowledge that happened, it's so visceral. That's dreadful. I cringe every time.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that because it's not a funny scene whatsoever. But right. I just had no idea where the story's going, right? So
sure.
Oh, okay. It's the 2 of them. And I know enough about story structure to know you're gonna run out of ramp with the 2 guys jockeying for cat and mouse after a while. Okay, what are you gonna do to kind of raise the stakes? Oh, you did it. Yeah. Kudos. Raise the stakes. And so when it shows her suspended there, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he gets in the cabin with him, or in the cab. And then I was just like, oh, he did it.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Because it's not supposed to happen. It's like a violation. And I say this admiring the film's boldness and its sort of intelligence to put us on our heels like that, because you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to take, and Jennifer Jason Leigh has her own degree of intensity to her performance, but in this especially, she's demure, she's sort of vulnerable, she's and she's supportive of our hero. She's the only one that believes him, and is the only one who's really willing to sort of stick her neck out and help him. You don't kill this person, but even if you are going to kill her to prove how serious the situation is, you don't rip her apart between 2 semis, tied up begging for her life. Y'all, that ain't right. You just don't do that. No, that is absolutely
And that was even the first of the taboos they broke, but I'm not going to talk about it in case it comes up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I want to throw in here, just because this is an overlay that could be over all of these That Ain't Right, so it's not going to be specific to any. One, the Nash death was pretty galvanizing, just from a pure kind of MPAA, how to portray, what to portray, if to portray kind of thing. I did find very interesting, this is one of the few movies that Ebert gave 0 stars, which actually did surprise me, because I'd read that after watching it.
Right. Yeah.
And it says, when he and Siskel denounced the movie on Johnny Carson, Carson asked, were they opposed to censorship? And Ebert replied, of course I'm opposed to censorship. The film should be made, it should be shown, and it should not be attended by anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Ebert bringing the heat.
Yeah. He was not a fan.
But when he was and there's no actual wrong when it comes to Ebert, but when he's quote unquote wrong by most people's standards, he's wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has a few in his catalog where it's just like, whoa, you really thought that was...
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, and that's a good point. It's like he's rarely that off, but when he is that off, like it's usually like huge. Another stratosphere.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are or aren't right, Reed.
Yes. So next one down for me. I've got to because the next one down is that friggin' finger in the fries stuff. Like that ain't right. That ain't right. You're sitting there enjoying some salty fries. You got your ketchup right there, and then suddenly you chomping on some knuckle. It's not. It's not right.
Oh my God! I was not planning on you.
That was perfectly timed, Reed.
Yes, that was.
This is not.
Oh my God!
You needed to feel it again, and so I'm glad I could.
You just hear the click.
Oh, stop! Oh
God! So yeah. That ain't right. That ain't right.
But I mean, what a scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
For someone like me who knew nothing of this movie. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, good. He's got a little respite. It's just
yeah.
And the way the shot is cut or the way the shot is framed, it's one thing to have a character wander into a scene like Nash's ultimate murder scene. You're dead. It's another thing to have a quiet moment that you think is a moment of respite for the character turn very sharply into the exact opposite. I mean, that's a great scene.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's great.
Man, it ain't right.
It ain't right. It ain't. Y'all took the biggies. So no. What I would say is my addition to this and it comes early in the film. Because again, you got to remember, my first time watching this, of course, I know Rutger Hauer is a name, but I don't know what the structure of this film is going to be.
Sure. Yeah.
And you don't have any preparation for just how wicked and murderous this dude is. My that ain't right is the station wagon and him in the back with the kid. Like once that to the point. Again, didn't watch a trailer, didn't read a synopsis, only know the title and the 15 minutes leading up to that, what precedes that is Halsey, that's his name, right?
Yeah,
Halsey, kicking him out of the car. So when he sees him in the back, there's a moment where I thought, is he having sort of a fever dream? Like, is we've seen him almost doze off while driving. He's out on the open road. Like, is this really happening? And once you sort of click in, it is really happening. That's a terrible moment.
It's awful.
That's the other taboo I was saying is you don't kill kids.
Yeah.
And just the mere suggestion of it.
And it's gruesome. Like, here's the other thing, that the film, for all of its sort of taboo breaking, it does know when it needs to be restrained. Like it doesn't bask in that for extra shock value. They've been murdered, and that Howell then runs back to his car and vomits because of whatever he's seen. And that's really all you need for your imagination to just completely go away from you in terms of what must have happened, what vicious, nightmarish thing must have happened in that station wagon. And the same thing with Nash, is that the last thing that we see of her is her hands bound and being pulled against the thing, and then it cuts to other places because you don't need to see that degree of just extravagance. And it's almost I think more potent that they didn't sort of show it. If they'd showed it, then what I would have seen is Hollywood trickery and very skilled sort of makeup stuff, and that's what I would have seen. Instead, I don't get the mental release of getting to see that fabrication. I just know narratively, oh my God, that's what just happened. And it's powerful.
And the only reason why there is that restraint, because Eric Red's original screenplay was like full out violence, gore, everything was shown.
Everything.
Everything was shown. Apparently it was at the time one of the most violent scripts that had been put to paper. And, and the only reason why it wasn't is because Robert Harmon, the director, it was his first movie. He was like, no, We're not doing that.
We're not going to go there.
We don't
okay?
have the time for it, but also it's not going to make a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your participation in another installment of That Ain't Right. That Ain't Right. That Ain't Right. That Ain't Right.
That ain't right.
See you guys later. Okay. Bye-bye.